Before I married Kui Heng, I already knew he had a concubine he cherished like his own heart and flesh, his childhood sweetheart cousin, Lin Rushwang. On our wedding night, Lin Rushwang barged into the bridal chamber with her big belly. Now that you've married Kui Lang, I might as well tell you, I am the one Kui Lang loves most. We are deeply in love, and even if he had nothing, I would never leave him. Unlike you cold-hearted noble ladies who only care about matching family status. Heh, she has no idea what being a noble lady is really worth. Even when noble ladies fall in love, it is amidst gold carvings and jade ornaments in piles of silk. We'd rather cry in a gilded canopy embroidered with phoenixes than laugh in a drafty thatched hut. These things, a girl from a tofu-selling family would never understand. I came here to be the mistress of the Marquis Manor, not to compete with her for a man's affection. The dragon and phoenix candles were still burning. The groom had not yet entered the bridal chamber. Yet someone barged in. The nanny blocked her in exasperation. The concubine is being far too improper. Kui Heng's cousin Lin Rushwang. Oh no. She is now concubine. Lin barged in clutching her belly. Her face deathly pale, eyes brimming with tears as she glared at me fiercely. Even if you married into the Marquis Manor with your noble status, you can only get the position of Marchioness. Never dream of winning Kui Lang's heart. I am his most beloved. The child in my belly is his firstborn son. So what if you are well matched? So what if you are a noble lady from a prestigious family? You still can't win his heart all the same. You noble ladies are all looks and no substance. What is the use of putting on airs? You still can't win a man's favor. Ha, noble lady. Lin Rushwang's father made a living selling tofu. She grew up in a poor and destitute household, and had no idea what it meant to be a noble lady. I had learned the etiquette of a noble lady since childhood, raised by my parents as a precious treasure. I came here to be the Marchioness of the Marquise's household, not to compete with her for a man's affection. Before I could say anything, Kui Heng pushed the door open in his groom's robes, his face full of urgency as he shielded Lin Rushwang behind him. Rushwang doesn't know any better. Please be tolerant, madam. She is young and with child, so her temper's a bit short. You are a lady of good breeding, don't stoop to her level. I looked at him calmly. Marquis, hiding that your concubine is pregnant amounts to marriage fraud. Favoring a concubine over your wife, if others find out, they'll impeach you for it. If you want the Jingyuan Marquis Manor to continue enjoying wealth and glory for years to come, you know what you should do right now. The guests in the front courtyard haven't left yet. The implication was clear. If word got out, the Jingyuan Marquis Manor would become the laughingstock of the entire capital. Kui Heng's expression froze. He summoned someone to escort Lin Rushwang back to her Heffing courtyard. As she was being taken away, Lin Rushwang clutched tightly at his wedding robes and shrieked. Kui Lang, you said I'd be your only woman in this lifetime. You said marrying her was just for show. Kui Heng's face darkened. Why haven't you taken the concubine away yet? Do you want the whole outer courtyard to hear this? I turned my face away. Prepare the bedding on the daybed for the Marquis. The implication being you are not getting on the bed tonight either. On our wedding night, after being stirred up by my husband's concubine, who would be in the mood for consummating the marriage. The next day when serving tea to my mother-in-law, I saw the nanny beside her whispering to her while holding a box containing the spotlessly white bridal handkerchief. Before she could lash out, I made my move first. My face turned pale. I stepped forward dabbing my tears with a handkerchief. Looking utterly aggrieved, your daughter-in-law, greets mother. Yesterday concubine Lin had some misunderstanding with me in the courtyard and barged into the bridal chamber making a scene. I was worried it might have disturbed her pregnancy. I wonder if she is feeling better today. The implication being the Kui family's concubine, pregnant no less, made a huge scene in the main wife's bridal chamber. If word got out, the Jingyuan Marquis Manor could kiss its reputation goodbye, and the Jiang family wouldn't let this slide easily either. Kui Heng followed behind me and hurried forward to explain. Mother, Rushwang was just a bit short-tempered because of her pregnancy. My mother-in-law shot him a fierce glare. Just then, Lin Rushwang came in. dressed in plain white, looking delicate and pitiful, her eyelids red and swollen. She must have cried all night. As soon as she entered, she began, "Auntie." My mother-in-law bellowed angrily, "You are now a concubine of the Marquis Manor. On the day of the Marquise's wedding, you actually dared to make trouble. Relying on your pregnancy to act spoiled and willful, go back and reflect on yourself properly, and copy theater for women several times." I watched my mother-in-law finish her act, then calmly spoke. "It seems the concubine hasn't learned proper etiquette either. Since she is a concubine, why is she called aunt? Neither wife nor concubine, neither family nor not. Please forgive me, mother. Since I am now the mistress of the house, you needn't trouble yourself with disciplining the concubine. Nanny Wang, starting from today, go to the concubine's courtyard every day to teach her etiquette for half a day. The servants of Heffing Courtyard won't receive their monthly wages until the concubine has learned proper manners. If the master can't learn proper etiquette, it must be because the servants are indulging her and not reminding her. Faults shall be punished." One sentence sealed the fate of Lin Rushwang's servants. "I am the mistress of this house. Rewards and punishments are all up to me." That night, Kui Heng didn't return to our room. When he was heading back to the main courtyard after dinner, he was stopped by a maid from Heffing Courtyard. "My lord, the concubine says her stomach hurts. Please go check on her." Kui Heng looked troubled. I said, "Go check on her. After all, it is the Marquise's firstborn." Without even bothering to put on a show, Kui Heng turned and hurried away. Nanny's eyes reddened with anxiety. "Madam, what should we do? That vixen using such lowly tricks, this Marquise's household is bullying us too much." I smiled faintly. "Close the door. The Marquis won't be coming back." The night wind carried silvery laughter from Heffing Courtyard, making the maids and servants of the main courtyard grind their teeth in fury. Yet I slept soundly through the night. The next day was the third day, the day to return to my maiden home. Mother-in-law had people prepare gifts early. But Kui Heng didn't show up. Only when I got on the carriage ready to depart did he hurry over. Lin Rushwang followed behind him, clinging, "Husband, you must come back early. The child in my belly is kicking so hard. You need to come back early to talk to the baby. He only calms down now when he hears his father's voice." Then she looked at me timidly. "Madam, it is not that this concubine is being delicate. It is just that Madam has never been pregnant and doesn't know how hard it is for a woman with child." Only after saying that did she reluctantly let go of his hand, allowing Kui Heng to get on the carriage. Kui Heng was still wearing yesterday's old clothes, all wrinkled, with suggestive red marks on his neck. Seeing me looking at him, he awkwardly said, "Rushwang wasn't feeling well last night. I didn't sleep well all night and got up late." My face turned cold, taking care of a pregnant concubine while leaving his newly wed wife of less than 3 days neglected in the courtyard. Surely the entire Marquis' mansion now knew that the Marquiness was not favored. Since he wouldn't give the Zhang family face, wouldn't give me dignity, then no one should have any dignity. As soon as we arrived at a prime minister's residence, my parents were waiting eagerly at the gate. I had just lifted the curtain when Kui Heng came over to help me off the carriage. I shook off his hand and threw myself into my mother's arms. "Mother, stand up for me." I cried my eyes out. As soon as I entered the manor, I spilled everything about Kui Heng's concubine causing a scene at the bridal chamber with her big belly. What kind of joke is this? I am the Prime Minister's precious pearl. I've never been the type to take grievances lying down before I got married. Father said, "Daddy has worked hard in the court for many years precisely, so my wife and daughter can live comfortably. If the Kui family makes you suffer even a little, come home and tell your parents. Daddy will definitely stand up for you." The Kui family sought to marry me to latch onto my Prime Minister Daddy's coattails. He played his cards well, thinking that once we were married, even if I found out his concubine was pregnant, I could only swallow my broken teeth with blood. Daddy flew into a rage and smashed a teacup right in front of Kui Heng. "My precious pearl married into your Kui family just to be tormented like this." If the Kuei family doesn't give the Jiang family an explanation, my daughter will never return to the Kuei family. Kuei Heng was thrown out of the manor by the Jiang family's guards and returned to the Kuei family looking like a complete mess. Within half a day, my mother-in-law arrived at the Prime Minister's manor with a cart full of gifts. She held Mother's hand tightly, wiping her tears. Back then, the old Marquis wanted to see an heir for the Marquis's manor before he died. Henger is filial and couldn't bear to disappoint his father, so he agreed to keep the child in Rushwang's womb. After his father passed away, I originally wanted Rushwang to abort the child, but thinking it was my late husband's dying wish, I couldn't go against it. But I know Yang Yang has been wronged. I can make this decision, as long as Yang Yang says she doesn't want this child. I'll have concubine Lin drink the abortion medicine when I return tonight. Since they say this child is the old Marquise's dying wish, if I say I don't want this child, wouldn't that be going against my father-in-law's dying wish? Such a vicious daughter-in-law. Wouldn't that make everyone in the capital look down on me? How would the Jiang family face anyone in the future? My mother-in-law's words were barbed yet clever, making us out to be the villains. I clenched my handkerchief tightly, watching the mother and son with cold eyes. Because of this marriage, the Jingyuan Marquis had even requested an imperial decree of bestowed marriage from the emperor. Now the Jiang family was being roasted over hot coals. I looked at Kuei Heng. For such a cold and heartless man, I would never bear his children. Since Lin Rushwang wanted so badly to bear them, let her do it. I stepped forward with reddened eyes. What is mother saying? How could your daughter-in-law be such a petty person? Don't I know that it is common for men to have multiple wives and concubines, and that continuing the family line for my husband is what truly matters in life? It is just, why did my husband have to hide this from me, letting concubine Lin give me such a fright on our wedding night? I am young and thin-skinned, yet I didn't dare make a sound, fearing it might disturb her pregnancy. If my husband had told me beforehand, would I really not have been able to accept her? Does the Kuer family see us daughters of the Jiang family as people who don't understand propriety, hiding it and refusing to tell us, only causing a scene after marrying me in? Is this meant to slap our Jiang family's face? This was basically saying the Kuei family had shamelessly deceived us into this marriage. Mother-in-law glared and Kuei Heng knelt down. Madam, it is all my fault. Mother originally told me to explain clearly, but I was afraid Madam would get angry, so I didn't dare say it. I thought I'd tell Madam after we got married, but didn't expect so many things to happen. Except for this one matter, whatever Madam says in the future goes. I will have no objections. Law placed a box in my hands. Don't worry, if he ever dares to wrong you in the future, Mother will stand up for you. These land deeds are for several shops in the best locations in the capital. Their mother's dowry, consider them a belated meeting gift from Mother. I took the box, its contents worth a fortune, and smiled slightly. Mother, this marriage was already set in stone. Since I couldn't escape it anyway, I would seek the greatest benefit from it. Just as we were talking, a servant from Mother's courtyard came wiping cold sweat to report, Madam, there is someone outside claiming to be the Marquise's concubine kneeling at the manor gates, saying the young miss won't tolerate her, and has come to beg the young miss for a way to survive. It was Lin Rushwang. She knelt pitifully in front of the Prime Minister's manor with her pregnant belly, crying miserably. Please spare this servant, Madam. The child in this servant's belly was personally ordered by the old Marquis to be kept. It is the eldest legitimate grandson of Marquis Jingyuan. Now that the old Marquis is gone, Madam wants to punish this servant as soon as she enters the household. Please show mercy, Madam. Spare this child's life, for the sake of the old Marquis and your husband. Outside, a crowd of onlookers gathered, squeezing in front of the mansion gate, pointing and gossiping. No way. Is the legitimate daughter of Prime Minister Zhang really this heartless? She can't even tolerate an unborn child. What do you all know? This Miss Zhang hasn't even officially married in yet, and the concubine's eldest illegitimate son is about to be born. What family would agree to that? Isn't this a slap right in Prime Minister Zhang's face? She looks quite pitiful. Didn't they say it was the old Marquis of Jingyuan's dying wish to keep this flesh and blood of the Kui family? The dead take precedence, how could they go against the old Marquis's wishes? Lin Rushuang wiped her tears, a hint of smugness in her eyes. When she looked up and saw me come out, she crawled over on her knees with her belly protruding. Madam, it is all Rushuang's fault. Please give Rushuang a way to live. Give the child in my belly a way to live, and I will surely serve you like an ox or horse to repay you. As she spoke, she kowtowed heavily. Outside, there was even more uproar. My face went deathly pale, swaying as if about to collapse, tears falling like beads from a broken string. You are the Marquise's concubine. I only married into the Marquise's mansion 3 days ago. Yet you are already heavily pregnant and about to give birth. I only met you for the first time when you barged in on our wedding night, and only then did I learn that the Marquis had been hiding his beloved cousin in the mansion. I am just a new bride who can't even recognize everyone yet. How would I dare say I won't give you a way to live? As you said, you are carrying the eldest son and grandson of the Marquise's household, and you have the old Marquise's word as guarantee. The moment I entered the Kui family, I had to watch concubines fill the house and a bastard eldest son being born. I accepted all of it. Even during the 3-day return visit, my husband only accompanied you. What more do you want me to concede? I can't be virtuous. I can't step back. Please forgive this Zhang family daughter for being unable to serve as the Kui family's matriarch. Since I am neither virtuous nor good, I beg the Marquis and his concubine to spare me a way out, lest I be cursed behind my back. As I spoke, I collapsed crying onto Nanny. Nanny held me and cried, our young miss, a lady of noble birth, only discovered after entering the Marquise's household that they had hidden not only the existence of a concubine, but also that she was about to give birth. Miss gritted her teeth and endured it, yet during the 3-day return visit, concubine Lin still had to come pressing at our door. You are trying to drive my young miss to death. Marquis, since you only love this cousin concubine, why did you marry my young miss? I beg you to spare my young miss a way out, lest she suffer in silence oppressed in the Marquise's household. Nanny wept bitterly. Kui Heng stood dumbfounded, completely clueless as to why Lin Rushuang had come to cause such a scene, while my mother-in-law was so angry her face turned ashen, ordering people to seize Lin Rushuang. I covered my face and cried, Mother, your daughter was deceived into marriage and has been humiliated to this extent. It would be better if your daughter were dead. With that, I closed my eyes and collapsed. Nanny and the maids screamed in unison. This is terrible. My young miss has been angered to death by the Marquis and his concubine. The news that Marquis Jinyuan, Kui Heng, favored his concubine over his wife and allowed his beloved concubine to go to the Prime Minister's mansion to cry and make a scene, infuriating his legal wife until she fainted, spread throughout the capital in no time. The next day, memorials impeaching him piled up on the emperor's desk at father's behest. The emperor pointed at those memorials and angrily rebuked Kui Heng. Favoring a concubine over your wife. Even I find it disgraceful. If your household isn't at peace, how can you accomplish great things? Reflect on yourself at your residence for 3 months first. You don't need to attend court during these months. Kui Heng's paternal aunt, noble consort Shu in the palace, summoned him and his mother in law to Ziluo Palace and looked at him with bitter disappointment. For a cousin who sells tofu, you even had an illegitimate eldest son and daughter. Who is your legal wife? She is Prime Minister Zhang's precious daughter. You even kept this from me. You two really have some nerve. I pillow-talked the emperor into arranging this marriage for you, and this is what I get. You've not only slapped my face but the emperor's face too. How is this palace supposed to speak to the emperor from now on? I think you and your mother have lost your minds. I don't care what method you use. Get rid of Rushuang's child. Mother-in-law said cautiously. Noble consort Shu. The child in Rushuang's belly is also the Kui family's flesh and blood. Kui Heng immediately knelt down. Aunt, the child in Rushuang's belly is my first child, and it is already 6 months along. Consort Shu slapped him hard. If this child is born, let alone your career, even I will be dragged down by you. Kui Heng crawled over on his knees. Aunt, father said on his deathbed to keep the child. I had no choice. Consort Shu closed her eyes, suppressing her anger, and asked, You must keep this child. No regrets. Kui Heng clutched Consort Shu's skirt hem and pleaded, Aunt, this is your nephew's flesh and blood, how can you bear it? Consort Shu sneered coldly. Fine, keep it if you want. She turned around and laughed mockingly. A fool like you, hopeless to prop up. Go make a mess on your own. Kui Heng, don't regret it later. If you insist on protecting Lin Rushwang, don't bother coming to the palace to see me, your aunt, in the future. I am afraid of being dragged down by a fool like you. Kui Heng slumped to the ground, murmuring, Aunt, it is just a child. Li Yangyang is the legitimate daughter of the Prime Minister, a model of noble ladies in the capital. If she can't even tolerate a concubine, others will say she is not virtuous, a jealous woman. Consort Shu laughed in anger. If you don't understand, go ask your mother. Before the main wife of a noble family has even entered the door, the concubine is already pregnant, and the eldest son is born to a concubine. This is the root of family chaos. The mother-in-law wanted to retort. This Li Yangyang is now part of the Kui family. Could she possibly dare to oppose her husband spreading branches and scattering leaves? Noble Consort Shu sneered coldly. Sister-in-law, let me ask you, before you married into the Jingyuan Marquis manor, my brother's bed servant got pregnant. And your Wang family said that if this bed servant's pregnancy wasn't aborted, you wouldn't marry into the manor. So how is it that now when it comes to your son, you demand your daughter-in-law be virtuous and magnanimous? Could it be that your Wang family's reputation is greater than the Jiang family's? Mother-in-law muttered and didn't dare make another sound. Noble Consort Shu gave them one last look. I have said all I have to say. Whether to keep it or abort it, you decide for yourselves. After Kui Heng and his mother returned to the Marquis manor, Lin Rushwang came out to greet them with reddened eyes, looking at them pitifully. Cousin, did I do something wrong? I wanted to help you, to give birth to this child. I thought if I made a scene at the Prime Minister's manor, Madam wouldn't dare make me abort the baby. Who knew her schemes ran so deep? Actually pretending to faint? Cousin, she is so jealous. How is this the conduct of a main wife from a noble house? The head wife should be virtuous and magnanimous, should bear children for her husband to continue the family line. But look at her. The moment she entered the door she became sour and jealous, making things difficult for her husband. Kui Heng said with a headache, Stop talking. After being reprimanded by the emperor, Kui Heng left the palace and returned home, then brought lavish gifts to the Prime Minister's manor. He really could swallow his pride, directly kneeling outside my courtyard. Madam, I know I was wrong. I came specifically to apologize to Madam. I am planning to send Lin Rushwang to a separate residence. You won't have to see her again. If you don't like the child in her belly, I can keep him off the family registry, and not bring him back to the manor. I guarantee that the legitimate eldest son on the family registry will definitely be born of Madam. I only learned from the nanny that as soon as he returned to the manor, Kui Hen had thought it through, and immediately sent people to send Lin Rushwang away. Lin Rushwang cried and made a fuss with her pregnant belly, but no amount of affection could outweigh a man's utilitarian heart coaxing. Me back to the Marquis manor was the priority for the Jingyuan Marquis manor. I knew my marriage with Kui Heng couldn't be written off just by quarreling and making a scene. Besides, although he had hidden his concubine's pregnancy beforehand, it was ultimately just a matter between wife and concubine. In the eyes of the world, this was merely a trivial matter that would never cause this marriage to fall through. It was only a matter of time before I returned to the Jingyuan Marquis manor. After Kui Heng's repeated apologies, I finally returned to the Marquis manor. However, I also brought 2 beautiful concubines with me. These 2 maids were specially purchased from Yangzhou by people my mother sent, trained from a young age in how to win a man's favor. Lin Rushwang, supported by servant women, was coming to bid farewell to the main wife before leaving the Marquis Manor for the separate residence. Seeing me return to the manor, she came forward with reddened eyes and a cold smile at the corner of her lips. Madam has returned. Rushwang cannot attend to you and must go to the separate residence to recuperate during pregnancy. Please forgive me, madam. She leaned close to me, gritting her teeth. Li Yang, you think you've beaten me. Once I give birth to the Marquis Manor's eldest son, who wins and who loses remains to be seen. I smiled faintly and waved my hand. Ruya, come up and greet concubine Lin. Two beauties stepped forward. Greetings, Sister Lin. Lin Rushwang was both shocked and suspicious. Who are they? Ruyu was skilled in dance, with beauty that could topple kingdoms, like an ethereal fairy untouched by the mortal world. Her palm dance was so captivating that one glimpse would make people forget to leave. Ruyue was skilled in zither, like a thorny red rose, stunningly beautiful, and stunningly ruthless. I smiled faintly. New concubines I've selected for the Marquis Manor. Now the whole capital is saying the Zhang family's daughter is jealous. How could I be that kind of person? If the Marquis had told me about you earlier, things wouldn't have gotten this embarrassing. Now that you are pregnant, you can't serve the Marquis anyway. Rest easy and focus on your pregnancy. With Ruyu looking after the Marquis, he certainly won't be neglected. I am not someone who can't tolerate others. Pass the word down, the two concubines don't need to drink contraceptive soup. Whoever gives birth to the eldest son will be elevated to favored concubine. Lin Rushwang's face turned deathly pale as she retreated step by step. I smiled coldly and said in a low voice, "You are just a concubine, a mere object. You actually thought you could compete with me. What do you think you are?" Then I followed her retreating steps, walked over and gently patted her hand while saying loudly, "Concubine, take good care of your pregnancy. Don't worry about the Marquis. You three, whoever gives birth to a son first, I'll elevate to noble concubine. You all should work hard to continue the Marquis's lineage." I turned and waved my hand. Quickly help the concubine onto the carriage, go to the villa to rest early. Summonon, come, check if the Marquis has returned. See whether he'll stay in Ruyu's courtyard tonight, or Ruyu's courtyard. Ruyu and Ruyu couldn't contain their joy. Thank you, madam. Lin Rushwang shrieked. How is this possible? You are the main wife and haven't given birth yet. How could you let concubines bear children first? How can you be so generous? I looked at her belly. If you as a concubine can bear children, so can others. You are all concubines in my eyes. It is all the same whoever gives birth. Can the Marquis's mansion not afford to raise a few illegitimate sons and daughters? Ruya covered her mouth and laughed. Concubine Lin is so strange, as if others can't bear children too. Madam said whoever gives birth to a son will be elevated to noble concubine. How do you know you are carrying a son? I see your belly is quite round, looks like a daughter to me. Lin Rushwang rushed forward to hit Rue. You are just a lowly concubine. What are you? How dare you act tough with me? I am the Marquis's cousin. We grew up together as childhood sweethearts. What right do you have to compare yourself to me? Ruyue pushed her away with one hand. You are just a tofu seller. Still think you are some noble lady. We're all just servants. The nanny stepped forward to block the two of them, gripping Lin Rushwang's arm forcefully and dragging her out. Concubine Lin, you don't need to worry about whether madam agrees to concubines bearing children anymore. You are just a slave. Worry about yourself. Lin Rushwang stared blankly at the two beauties, and before she could react, she was helped onto a carriage. By the time she came to her senses, the carriage had already traveled halfway, and she was soon sent to a manor dozens of li outside the capital. Kui Hung sent Lin Rushwang away, and before he had time to feel sentimental, he was already enchanted by the new concubines. At night, as soon as he returned to the main courtyard, he held me tenderly and said sweetly, "Wife, from now on, let's live our days well together. You can bear me children, and I'll never let you down again." I pushed him away half coyly. I won't be angry with you. I am already your wife. It is not like I can run away. When I returned to the manor this time, Mother had a physician take my pulse. He said I caught a chill before the wedding and haven't fully recovered yet, so I need to recuperate well. I am drinking medicine now, and the whole room smells of it. Marquise, during this time, why not let the new concubines attend to you first? Once I've recovered, I can bear a child or two for the Marquis. Kui Heng looked at me and said gently, "It is fine, I'll just stay by your side." I smiled. Marquis, now the whole street is mocking me as a jealous wife. If you truly care for me, hurry and get the new concubines pregnant, so they can see that I am not that kind of petty jealous woman. For the sake of my reputation, the Marquis must also put in the effort. While speaking, she pushed Kui Heng out of the courtyard. Summonon, come. Have the new concubines attend to the Marquis properly. Kui Heng left half reluctantly, and the nanny looked at me with worry. Madam, you are just going to push the Marquis to other women like this, I said with annoyance. Whoever wants to serve him can just serve him. Mother's words still echoed in my ears. This world is harshest on women. Since you can't get rid of him, then secure your position as the main wife. If you don't want to bear children, then let the concubines bear them. Once they give birth, you can raise the children as your own. Remove the mother, keep the child. That works too. Remove the mother, keep the child. No. Why should women make things hard for women? Ruyu and Ruyu were sold with permanent contracts. Now their contracts are in my hands. In life or death, they belong to our Zhang family. Being able to escape that hellhole and find such a mistress willing to let them bear children. They couldn't be more grateful. Kui Heng was living in drunken stupor in the back courtyard, drunk and resting on Beauty's laps every day. How could he remember there was a concubine about to give birth in the other residence? Lin Rushwang was in the other residence. I didn't mistreat her. I instructed the servants to give her whatever she wanted. But the servants who went with her were all my people, regularly passing news from the Marquis Manor to the other residents. Things like how concubine Ruyu was the Marquise's favorite, with him spending 20 days a month in her room, or how concubine Ruyu had been vomiting lately. Who knows if she might be pregnant? Something about how a colleague of the Marquis had sent another beautiful concubine to him. Lin Rushwang was burning with anxiety upon hearing this. But without Kui Heng's orders, she couldn't return to the capital on her own. The servants who accompanied her earnestly advised, "Why is concubine so anxious? Rest well and recuperate. Wait until after giving birth to go back. Are you afraid the Marquis won't like you? By then you'll be the birth mother of the Marquise's eldest son, who would dare disrespect you." Lin Rushwang found this reasonable upon hearing it, and immediately had people stew tonics for nourishment, wanting to recuperate properly. Every day, fat chickens and fat ducks were sent to her room, and she ate them all clean. In the last 2 months, she ballooned up like being inflated. The servant women who came back to report said Lin Rushwang had now gotten more than a full size fatter than before. When Lin Rushwang went into labor, she had a difficult delivery. Because she had taken too many tonics and was too pampered to move around, the baby was in the wrong position. The midwife at the villa couldn't deliver it, and servants rode fast to report to the Marquise's residence. Kui Heng was in Ruyu's courtyard, enjoying warm jade and fragrant tenderness with her. When he heard the servant's report, he was stunned for a long while, as if just now remembering this person called Lin Rushwang. After all, this was going to be his first child. Hearing about the difficult labor, Kui Heng became anxious too. Ruyu giggled coquettishly. Surely concubine Lin is just using the childbirth to act spoiled with the Marquis. Which woman giving birth isn't like this? How could it really be that serious? Didn't Madame arrange a midwife long ago? Don't worry, Marquis. Women giving birth, you just sleep on it, and tomorrow you can be a daddy. If you go to that concubine Lin now, Ruyu won't have it. Today is your day to rest in my room. If you leave, Ruyu won't have it. Kui Heng gently embraced Ruyu, pinching her nose. All right. I won't leave. I'll stay with you. Ruyu took out a pill from a box beside her, brought a cup of wine for Kui Heng to take it with, and the two became entwined together again. The Marquis didn't care whether the concubine lived or died. The servants had no choice and came to me. I thought for a moment, Go call Dr. Wang from Shunhal, he is a master of gynecology. Ask him to make a trip. After all, it is 2 lives at stake. If word got out that the concubine was giving birth and the main wife ignored it completely, it wouldn't hold up to scrutiny. Lin Rushwang's baby was simply too big and the position was wrong. After a day of pain, Dr. Wang finally arrived at the side residence. After a day and night of pain, Lin Rushwang gave birth to a daughter. She had severe postpartum hemorrhage, but fortunately, I had someone bring decades-old ginseng over to save her life. It is just that Dr. Wang said her body was severely damaged, and she wouldn't be able to bear children anymore. The first thing Lin Rushwang did when she regained consciousness was ask, "Where is my son?" That is the Marquise's firstborn son. I carried the child to the bedside. Concubine Lin, congratulations on having a daughter. Lin Rushwang's breathing was unsteady, and she said with a trembling voice, "How can it be a daughter? The doctor said it was a son. How could it become a daughter? You must have switched my child. You vicious woman." After saying that, she suddenly sat up, grabbing my hand. "Where did you switch my son to?" Kui Heng lifted the curtain and came in. "What madness are you having? You gave birth to a daughter, the eldest illegitimate daughter of the Marquise's household. Stop spouting nonsense. I came together with Madam. How could she have switched your child? If she hadn't sent someone to fetch Dr. Wang and brought ginseng to save your life, would you even be alive to make a fuss here?" I held the child and stepped forward. "Hold the child." Lin Rushwang suddenly went crazy, grabbed the child and threw her toward the ground. The servants screamed in a panic. Luckily they caught the child, preventing her from being smashed to death on the spot. Kui Heng was furious. "Are you insane? This is the eldest illegitimate daughter of the Marquise's household, and you want to smash her to death?" Lin Rushwang screamed. "What is the use of giving birth to a daughter? You said you would raise me to equal wife status if I gave birth to a son. Now your concubine is pregnant, and you don't care about my child either. Might as well smash her to death and be done with it." Lin Rushwang was like a madwoman, trying to strangle her daughter whenever she saw her. There was no other way, so the child was taken to mother-in-law's courtyard to be raised. Mother-in-law disliked that it was a granddaughter, only glanced at her once, then tossed her to the nannies and wet nurses to take care of, ignoring her completely. Kui Heng looked at me and said, "Raising children is supposed to be the legitimate wife's responsibility. You should take the child in to raise." I smiled slightly. Concubine Lin has always been suspicious of me. If I were to raise her child, she surely wouldn't feel at ease either. Better to let mother raise her. Mother surely wouldn't mistreat her own granddaughter. When Lin Rushwang finished her postpartum confinement and returned to the Marquis Manor, she found it had completely changed. The inner courtyard now had 3 more concubines, each with their own strengths, each with their own share of favor. As for her, ever since giving birth, her figure had changed drastically, and because her temper had become irritable, Kui Heng was even more unwilling to visit her room. Before long, Ruyu was diagnosed with pregnancy. The doctor invited was from Haichun Hall, and he took the silver with a mysterious smile. The Marquise's wish can be fulfilled. I looked at the concubine standing in the courtyard waiting for news, and happily said, "Concubine Rue is pregnant. All servants will be rewarded an extra month's wages. Everyone serve her carefully. Concubine Ruya is carrying a boy in her belly, the eldest son of the Marquis Manor." I warmly held Ruyo's hand. "Focus on nurturing the pregnancy. Once you give birth, you'll be the first honored concubine in the manor. I keep my word." The concubines outside all had red eyes with envy, especially Lin Rushwang, who fiercely clutched her handkerchief and said through gritted teeth, "It is not born yet. Don't get cocky too soon." Back then the doctor also said I was carrying a boy, but I still gave birth to a daughter. I bet it'll be the same for Ruyue. I looked at her with a faint smile. "Concubine Lin, you should try harder too. You've given birth before and have experience, so it should be easier for you to continue the Marquise's line. Your belly needs to step up too." The moment my words landed, The concubines beside me covered their mouths and snickered. Who didn't know that her barrel-like waist had made the Marquis despise her? She'd been back for months, yet the Marquis hadn't stayed in her room even once. I was currently recuperating, Ruyu was pregnant, Lin Rushwang was being shunned, so Kui Heng visited Ruyu and the new concubine the most. And Ruyu had recently learned a new dance, which Kui Heng was absolutely smitten with. He even brought her to show off at banquets with his colleagues. But then one day, at a banquet hosted by Prince Pingyang's residence, Kui Heng took Ruyu along, only to be carried back by servants, covered in blood. Upon inquiry, we learned that Kui Heng had Ruyu perform a dance on stage. The heir of Prince Pingyang took a fancy to Ruyu and wanted to snatch her from Kui Heng. Having drunk quite a bit and seeing how frightened Ruyu was, Kui Heng, emboldened by the alcohol, got into an argument with the heir and even came to blows. How could the men he brought compare to the guards of Prince Pingyang's residence? He was beaten half to death and thrown out. Kui Heng's injuries were extremely severe. Prince Pingyang's residence, fearing trouble, sent imperial physicians in shifts to treat him. Kui Heng's life was saved, but the imperial physician informed him that he would never be able to perform in bed again. The one who beat him was the heir of Prince Pingyang, and with Prince Pingyang's great influence, Kui Heng could only swallow this bitter loss in silence. I just cried and said, "The Marquis can't perform in bed anymore. What will become of all these concubines? We can only hope Ruyu will do us proud and give birth to a son, so the Marquis's household can carry on the family line." Kui Heng couldn't care less about heirs. After learning he could no longer perform as a man, he became listless and dispirited, drinking heavily, only seeking his ambitions in alcohol. My mother-in-law wailed and cried to the heavens, and even moved Rua to her own courtyard, fearing any mishap. But despite all her precautions, she couldn't guard against her own dear niece Lin Rushwang. While paying respects to her mother-in-law, she quietly poured a bottle of hair oil on the path Ruya had to take. When Ruya stepped on it, she slipped and fell to the ground. "Ayo, Marquis, save me, my belly." Looking at the blood on the ground, Kui Heng froze, then immediately called for the physician. Ruyue cried and wailed throughout the night. Bowl after bowl of preserving medicine was poured down her throat, but it was useless. By dawn, the 5-month fetus in her belly had fallen out, a fully formed baby boy. My mother-in-law was so shocked and enraged that she fainted on the spot. When she woke up, she found half her body couldn't move and she couldn't speak. She had suffered a stroke. She could only lie paralyzed in bed, mumbling incoherently while pointing at Lin Rushwang, her eyes full of hatred. Kui Heng slumped down onto the stool. Rue clutched at him, crying heart-wrenchingly, "Marquis, please seek justice for this servant. How could I have just fallen? Someone clearly harmed me." Kui Heng said fiercely, "Lock the manor gates and investigate this for me." I cried with reddened eyes. This was the heir of our Marquis' manor. Who could be so vicious? This is trying to make our manor die without descendants. When they found the empty hair oil bottle in Lin Rushwang's room, she burst out laughing. Good, I can't give birth to a son, and neither will she." Kui Heng slapped her hard several times and questioned her viciously. "Why did you harm my offspring, you vicious woman?" Lin Rushwang glared at him with hatred, pointing at the concubines outside. "Why? You said you only loved me, that only I would bear your children, and what happened? You married a wife, took concubines, one after another. I gave birth to a daughter, and you wouldn't even glance at her. You never came near me again, you despised me. Who do you think I became this wretched for? It was because of you. You heartless man, since you don't want me, want to abandon me. Then let's all die together. The male child in her belly is gone, and my daughter will be the only heir of the Marquis Manor. I am the rightful mistress of the Marquis Manor. Report to the authorities, take her to the Yamen. She plotted against the Marquis Manor's offspring. I want her to pay with her life." As she was being escorted to the Yamen, he also wrote a letter of divorce. "From this day forward, you are no longer part of my Marquis Manor." Lin Rushwang snatched the divorce letter, stuffed it into her mouth, and swallowed it, broke free from the constables, and rammed her head to death at the gates of the Marquis Manor. Before she breathed her last, she said with a smile, "Even in death, I am still a concubine of the Marquis Manor. My daughter cannot have a murderer for a mother." Lin Rushwang died, and the Marquis Manor had only one offspring. The daughter born to Lin Rushwang. Mingju was raised under my care. I named her Mingju. "I released all the concubines from the Marquis's residence," I said indifferently. "The Marquis is impotent. You are all still young. I can't let you waste your youth. Here are your indenture contracts. I am returning your freedom. Go your separate ways." The new concubine happily took the silver and returned to Baiwa Pavilion to raise her banner again and become a courtesan once more. Ruyu and Ruyue gave me a deep look, performed a kneeling bow, and left without looking back. Only we knew what that look meant. Those pills were obtained by Ruyu and Ruyue through their own means. Taking too many would gradually weaken one's body. On the day of the argument, Ruyu fanned the flames from the side, causing the young lord and the Marquis to fight, which ultimately led to the disaster. And the pills they had taken had long made their bodies unsuitable for pregnancy. Even if Ruyu's child didn't miscarry, it wouldn't have survived until birth. Now that everything was settled, I gave them their indenture contracts and a sum of silver. The two took the silver and left without looking back. After Qiang finished the last box of pills, he finally collapsed on the ground one night. By the time the servants found him the next day, his body had already gone stiff. The Jingyuan Marquis's residence fell overnight, leaving only me, the Marchioness of Jingyuan, and a daughter, guarding the vast residence, living our days quietly. I held Mingju in the courtyard, looking at the newly bloomed osmanthus flowers. She babbled and laughed, looking nothing like Kuei Heng, nor like Lin Rushwang. I kissed her little cheeks. She has Jiang family blood running through her veins. Lin Rushwang guessed right. Her child had long been swapped by me, only replaced with a baby girl from the Jiang clan who had lost both parents. Right after birth, Kuei Heng and Lin Rushwang's son was given by me to a refugee couple. During the famine flight, they took the few taels of silver I gave them, carried the child, and left to where, I don't know. The Jingyuan Marquis Manor now belongs to the Jiang family, and it always will.